I think the main purpose is to strengthen the tripartite alliance that we have. It's a huge opportunity for Auckland to be able to engage with two very large and important cities that are a gateway to their countries, which is Guangzhou and Los Angeles. But for our business delegation, and there's 99 delegates, business delegates coming, 72 companies, it's a chance to engage with their counterparts in Guangzhou for investment, for trade and for commercial deals. Having a delegation led by a mayor that meets with Mayor Wen in Guangzhou means that this will help open doors for business opportunities for our delegation. Well, I've been to China many times as Minister of Trade, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, as Minister of Defence, but this is the first trip that I will be leading a business delegation as Mayor of Auckland. So it's a chance for me to engage with Mayor Wen in Guangzhou and the Deputy Mayor of Los Angeles who's attending, and it's a chance for me to work with the business delegation that I'm leading to help them develop opportunities. Guangzhou will be developing an extensive program for the business delegates, and we will be having a plenary session with the leaders of the three cities where we can bring our delegates in. They can learn more about Guangzhou. Some of them will know Guangzhou already. Others will be on a learning experience and having the opportunity to find out more about the commercial opportunities that exist for them in that city. I think there'll be a signing of a memorandum of understanding around tourism. And tourism, of course, is now very, very important. We've got 8 airlines coming into Auckland from China. We've got 400,000 tourists each year, but that's only 1% of the tourists that are leaving from China. So to develop our strengths in tourism, to develop on our strengths in international education, to look at some of the specialist areas like innovation and startups and biomedicine, all of those things are really important. So I hope that our business delegations come back from Guangzhou with new agreements and deals with their counterparts in China, a better understanding of China, and a chance also to get to know their other counterparts on the delegation, because there'll be a lot of people coming from Auckland that will have the chance to network amongst themselves and to work out shared opportunities for them, both in New Zealand and internationally. I think there's a lot of opportunities for big investors in China in our infrastructure. And we have a very open system where we ask for expressions of interest and registrations for engaging in the process of tendering, and it's a completely open system. So we let tenders to the most competitive and the best quality tenderers. We've got big projects coming up now with light rail for Auckland, with a range of other things in the water infrastructure area. And I hope that there will be interest from China that's very good at doing infrastructure. You can see that all over China in the rate at which that infrastructure is being created. Our new immigration policy, as announced by the incoming government, will focus on is much more in the area of high skill and also in the area of high quality education. The areas that will be reduced, I think, will be lower skilled occupations, where we expect New Zealanders to be able to adopt those jobs, and the education courses that will be affected are the lower quality education courses, which are used basically as a way of getting residency in New Zealand rather than the high quality education we want to be known for. And China is a big part of our international education area, but it tends to be in the higher quality courses. And it's from other countries that we're seeing people coming in doing, supposedly retail management, but they're low-level courses and basically more of an excuse to be able to come to New Zealand and to get a work permit than actually to study and learn. I think the important thing about migration policy into New Zealand is to match the people with the skills necessary to do the jobs that we need to be filled in New Zealand. At the moment, because we're getting quite good growth, we're not capable of generating all of those skills within New Zealand, And, I've long been a supporter of migration, bringing in people with talent and energy and skill and cultural diversity. I think that makes us a better city and New Zealand a better country. Well, I think that it's necessary. We've got to pay for it somehow. When I stood for election as mayor, I said to people, we need to spend, and our plans are to spend $27 billion in the next 10 years on transport infrastructure. The government needs to pay for some of that, but we have to pay for some of that ourselves. And I said to people before the election, if you think that you can get everything for nothing, don't vote for me, because I can't give you everything for nothing. We're going to have to make our contribution. But with the fuel tax, the average people will be paying is maybe $2.60 a week. In London, where I've just been, they're paying $21 a day in the congestion tax. We're talking about just probably for the average person, $2.60 a week, and that will enable us to invest in the infrastructure that allows us to cope with congestion and allows us to develop good public sector transport alternatives that we don't have at the moment. I think that there are some policies that the new government is offering that will be really good for Auckland. I had a good, constructive and professional relationship with Bill English and Simon Bridges in the national government, but I also know the Labor people really well because I was a former parliamentarian, and I welcome the fact that they will broaden our revenue base, that they will provide light rail, that we'll get a sky path so that people can walk and cycle across the Harbour Bridge. That'll be great for bringing Auckland together, and that they will focus on creating more affordable housing and more housing. So I'm looking for just as professional a relationship as I had with the national government, but perhaps a more forward-looking relationship. There is certainly a real enthusiasm in the new government to do these things. And National wasn't so keen on the fuel tax, but they did want a congestion tax. The national government and the council were working together on that, and they also wanted us to pay more rates to pay for our transport infrastructure. So actually I'd rather have a user pay system like a petrol tax than simply putting it on the rates. So I think that a fuel tax will be good for us, and it will relate more to, if I'm using the roads all the time, I'll pay a bit more. If I'm not using the roads, then I'll pay a bit less. But it won't be heavy, and it won't be onerous on the average Aucklander. But all of us know that we need more infrastructure, and we know that it has to be paid for. I think it will be helpful, but I also understand that no government has a magic wand. Every government faces similar constraints. There's huge spending demands, but there's limited revenue. So every government's got to balance its budget. I'm not unrealistic about what I expect from the government, but I do welcome the fact we've had one government for 9 years. Having a new government come in with fresh eyes, looking anew at the problems that we face, and with a Prime Minister and a Minister of Housing and Transport who live in Auckland, they will have a strong understanding of what our city needs. So I welcome that. I think I do. I'm getting around the city. People understand that this is a large and complex city, that the problems are challenging problems. They also know that Auckland is a good place to live, but they want a mayor that can work with central government to get the best deal from central government. They want a mayor that will start to address the problems of growing congestion, housing unaffordability, keeping our environment clean and green. I'm committed to those things, and I will work just as I did for a very long time, over 30 years in central government, for the benefit of the people of the city, just as I worked for the benefit of the people of New Zealand when I was in government, doing things like the China Free Trade Agreement. I've got a track record. I know how to operate in a realistic way to deliver what can be delivered while managing a budget soundly, and that's what I'll continue to do for Auckland. Well, first of all, to all of the Kiwi Chinese residents in Auckland, thank you for the amazing contribution that you make to our city. The economic strengths that you bring to our city, the strong values you have around education and family, and the cultural richness that you bring to our city. Things like the Lantern Festival, where 200,000 people come out from all parts of the city to enjoy the cultural depth and richness that you bring as a gift from China. Thank you for all of those things. I'm looking forward to going to China next week, together with a big delegation from the business community, to renew my long association with China and to work together so that China and New Zealand have a great relationship, people to people, economic, social and cultural. So thank you very much. Share. I'm looking forward to the trip next week.